And welcome to Bulls Digest as we are doing a live pregame show tonight. I wanted to present this to you out there and see how this goes for us today. So, look, I am talking about the Chicago Bulls versus the Memphis Grizzlies. They're coming in off winning last night, a total team win against the Atlanta Hawks. 133 to 122. Today in this pregame, we're going to be talking about the injuries around both teams. And we're also going to be talking about some of the things to look out for as the Chicago Bulls hopefully get a chance to maybe put two winning games together here on this back-to-back. And so let's start off just a little bit with what took place last night. We had 7 players that were in double digits against the Atlanta Hawks, and that is pretty huge. In fact, in the first game against the Atlanta Hawks, we had 9 players in double digits. And so you just get a chance to see just what we're talking about as far as a complete team effort. And last night we had a season high in field goal percentage at 57%. We were super efficient with the shots that we were taking. And also too, every pass had a purpose last night for the Chicago Bulls. We had a season high there. I talked about this on the post game and then also to the post game video that yes, 36 assists actually was a season high for the Chicago Bulls. So great job doing that. And then we also had 4 different players that finished with 2 blocks. And so that is huge. That is one of the things that I have talked about with this team is just that we have got to be a much better team together on the defensive end. It's not going to be just individual efforts, especially when you don't have Patrick Williams, one of your better defenders who's going to be out. We're going to talk about that. And then you have Ayo Dosunmu, and really we have got to figure it out as a team. I think this is why a team like Golden State is so good because they are great at swarming to the basketball, which is something that the Chicago Bulls did last night against the Atlanta Hawks. They did a terrific job as far as swarming around the basketball. Then also too, lastly, look, we had 10 blocks last night, which was a season high for this team. So that just lets you know, the rim protection at that point was good last night, even though we still got rocked in the paint 70-50 by the Atlanta Hawks. We certainly have to cut that down, but I like the effort now that we're starting to contest. We're using that length a little bit more like we should. And so hopefully this will help this team in tonight's game. And so let's go ahead and jump into the injury report for both teams tonight, and starting with the Chicago Bulls. And so really, I think the biggest news coming out of this injury report is that Julian Phillips is going to be day-to-day, maybe questionable for tonight with an illness. And then we have Jalen Smith, who is on the injury report again here. Looks like he has maybe a twisted ankle. And so that's tough because Jalen Smith played, I think, very well last night. I talked about him and the way he was able to really stretch the floor. He was 4 or 5 from the 3-point line last night. So he did a terrific job there. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. And he was a plus, I believe, 9 in the box score. And so, look, Jalen Smith, now that he's not listed on the injury report with the knee issue, I think that Billy Donovan should absolutely start to play Jalen Smith a little bit more, especially with the trade talks that might be going around Vooch. Who knows what's going to happen there. But Jalen Smith is going to be very important for this Chicago Bulls team, and we need to see him out there. And so hopefully he's able to go tonight. Hopefully he's not feeling any kind of setbacks from this injury that he just had happen in this last game against the Atlanta Hawks. And so that is, I think, some major injury update news here. And then as we look at some of the players that are out, going with Patrick Williams. And so I wanted to go back and update that. And so Patrick Williams did get a chance to talk to reporters last night. I know that I saw a clip with Casey Johnson and then also to Will the Go Gottlieb, who is on CHGO podcast, and he was talking about how the foot injury, it's the swelling that has been reported and they're waiting for that to go down. But more importantly from Patrick Williams, when asked about, in comparison to the same type of pain he felt before he had to do that season-ending surgery, Patrick Williams was saying that, look, he is not feeling that type of pain. He's not experiencing that. And so that is a good thing for Patrick Williams. That's a good thing, I think, for the Chicago Bulls team. Like, it's unfortunate that he's going to be out, but it is a good sign that he's saying that the pain that he's experienced in his foot is not the same pain that he experienced going into that surgery. So that's good. And he's saying, look, it's just a matter of just taking precautions. He's talking about working with the Chicago Bulls medical staff, and also, too, I guess his team that kind of watched over him this summer. So Patrick Williams is optimistic about what's going on with his foot. So that's a good thing. We know that Lonzo Ball still hasn't gotten to the point where he is ready to go ahead and fully ramp up yet. And so I know that there was that 2 to 6 week window on him. Hopefully we start to see a little bit more activity for Lonzo Ball at some point. But those are the major injury updates. And we're going to be talking about what Billy Donovan is going to have to do with the rotations now, because I thought it was interesting what he was talking about with the Chicago Bulls now going through 5 games in 7 days. And so, look, with the Memphis Grizzlies, they have a lot of injury concerns because, look, Marcus Smart, he was coming into this as questionable. It looks like he is going to be out for the most part. And then we have Ja Morant. He's listed as out. I think he was a possibility, but it says doubtful, so he's more than likely going to be out. Zach Edey, I think he played against us last time. He's going to be out. Looks like something going on with the ankle, and they're saying that it's positive, but he's going to be out. And so, look, the Memphis Grizzlies are coming into this thing. They're injured, but they still have a chance to really do some damage in the paint. They still have Jaren Jackson Jr. They still have Bane out there as well. So this team is still going to very much attack us in the paint. And so before I go ahead and jump into the next topic, I want to go ahead and look into the chat here. And so it looks like a D-Law is saying, yes, ESPN has Phillips listed as out until the 26th. Okay, yeah, just seeing that. What's up to my man out there, Podco Fishing? What's going on? Welcome, man. Thanks for joining us on this pregame show. Let's see. I collect Julian Phillips. What's up? Is Phillips injured? So currently right now with Julian Phillips, it looks like he has an illness. This is what it's saying on ESPN.com. But D-Law is saying that, yes, that looks like he might be out until the 26th. And Memphis has 5 players out, including Ja Morant. Yes. And so, yeah, both of these teams are going into this game injured. And I think that this is a prime opportunity for the Chicago Bulls to take advantage of this. And so now we're going to look at just the comparison between the two teams and some of the things that we should be looking for in tonight's game. And so, look, the last time out against this team, we pulled it out barely. I think it was 126 to 123. You had Zach Lavine, you had Kobe White. They combined for 50 points. And so with this game, look, even though the Memphis Grizzlies very much are injured, I think that they still have the opportunity to go ahead and bang us up in the paint here. I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. actually did a terrific job in getting to the paint. And if you go back and look at this game, it was the tale of two halves because Memphis was really taking it to the Chicago Bulls. And once again, we went on this run and then we were able to pull this out. So definitely be looking for that. I hope that we can get into a great pace and play tonight. I think that that's something that helped us in yesterday's game. I talked about the overall team defense and how you're going to need to do that in tonight's game, especially to protect the paint. And so hopefully we are able to utilize these things against the Memphis Grizzlies. And so here are some of the key stats from this last game out. So again, 126 to 123. You're looking at Zach Lavine, who had 30 in this one, and he had a great game. I remember him talking to Casey Johnson. He was talking about how he had a good game. I think in their building before when he played in college. And so that was cool to see. He was definitely in the zone out there. Josh Giddey led us in rebounds. He led us in assists. And so we're definitely going to need that. And that's going to lead to some of the things that I'm looking for in tonight's game. And so, some of the storylines in tonight's game really starts with, I think, a player like Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey, I think he had one of his best games with the Chicago Bulls, if not the best game. 18 points, the 6 rebounds. He had the 8 assists, the 2 blocks, and he was 8 of 10 from the field. And so, look, I think confidence is going to be the big thing for Josh Giddey, and I'm hoping that he can build off of that confidence tonight. You see in this game, he was able to go out there and do the things that he does well, which is rebound the basketball and assist the basketball at a high level. And so I think that as he continues to focus on those things, the offense will come to him. In fact, I was looking at Bleacher Nation, and one of the key stats for Josh Giddey's big night last night was he was 6 of 6 in the paint. He did a terrific job in using his size and knocking down shots. And I love the highlight clip where he pushes Dyson Daniels out of the way and he dunks on him. It's okay to be physical with the smaller guards. And so I hope that Josh Giddey has looked at that highlight tape. I hope that he packages that up and he continues to go with this momentum. So I think that that is a story to look forward to in tonight's game. And so before we go a little bit more, I just want to check back into the chat and see what is going on here. And so look, Podco Fishing says, I thought Giddey looked good the last game. Hopefully he can keep it up. I agree with you totally. I think that for him to keep it up, it is all about confidence. And I would tell him, look, continue to talk to a player like Zach Lavine. Talk to Vooch. These are players that they've had like these wild storylines around them going into the season. But I think the difference for them is that they've been locked in. And so speaking of Zach Lavine and Vooch, I want to see some more of that. I love what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to stay with this team. Obviously, we know that there's the story that they're trying to up their trade value, but I like the fact that they're doing it within the team concept. They're not out there playing as individuals, just trying to up their numbers. And I love the efficiency that we saw with Zach Lavine last night, 11 of 18. And I like the pace. He's picking his spots. He's not just forcing the action. I know he's got to cut down his turnovers. There's a lot of players on the team that need to cut down the turnovers because that's something that we do a lot of. But I have liked the way that he's gone out there, and he's just letting his play show. And hopefully Vooch tonight, he can establish a paint identity. We need that because if you notice in that game against the Atlanta Hawks, when Vooch is going inside and he's taking care of business inside, now we have that opportunity for players to go ahead and cut off of him. And then when you have that type of player movement, now you are getting a defense to shift. That is where you either get a layup or you can go ahead and maybe get an open 3-point shot off of that. And so hopefully we can continue that type of ball movement, that type of player movement tonight. And that starts with Vooch continuing to do what he's done, I think, throughout this season. And that's really worked from the inside out. And so hopefully we see some more of that tonight from Vooch. And so these are some of the key takeaways, I think, from the last game and some of the things that I'm looking forward to see tonight. Now, this is where I think it gets a bit more interesting for us is just some of the quotes and things coming into this game, and it surfaces around Billy Donovan. And so this was Billy Donovan talking about Matas Buzelis and talking about playing him some more. And I like this because Billy Donovan is acknowledging the fact that Matas Buzelis has shown some growth, and we want to see more of Matas Buzelis tonight, especially if Julian Phillips is not playing tonight. We need to see some more of Matas Buzelis because if you're trying to build this team for the long term, you're trying to figure out what you have got to get Matas Buzelis out there. And I like the fact that he at some point did play with Josh Giddey. I think you need to see some more of that. We want to see, does he get easier baskets and things like that? We need to figure out what lineups he works best with. I think that he hasn't played that much to where we don't even know that. And so I like Matas Buzelis. I like just his energy. I like the fact that he looks more comfortable. And what I do love too is that his 3-point shot, that was questionable coming out of the draft. That looks like a strong point for him at this point. I think now for him, and this is what Billy Donovan talks about in his Euro step, it is getting that to translate now to the NBA, because I think now, because the pace is a little bit different from what you see in the G League and the physicality is different, he's getting bumped off his path. That's causing him to travel. It's also causing him to really knock that shot off. And these are things that I think he was able to do in the G League, but this is something that he needs to continue to get exposed to, that type of physicality out there. And this is the type of player that he is not out there showing you that he's discouraged. You see him. It looks like he has all the confidence out there. And I loved that Josh Giddey assisted him and that major dunk that we saw. So we love that with Matas Buzelis. We absolutely need to see him. And so I think that this is a telling quote from Billy Donovan saying that essentially he's trusting Matas Buzelis some more. And so I'm going to shift focus over here to the chat to see what else we have. And so, yes, I love that Matas got some minutes that last game. He was looking better for sure. I totally agree with you. I think that here's a player that you need to give him that exposure. Like Dalton Connect, when he first played, the first couple games with the Lakers, you didn't see the amount of growth that you see now. But as you continue to see him play, you're seeing something different. And I think that you're going to see that with Matas Buzelis. And I never really feel like it's a confidence standpoint. I feel like you just have got to get him out there. And I think that when you look at his little play in the G League where he went out and scored like 28 or something like that, you can even see that it's much different from when he came into the league. So yeah, you can definitely see some growth on that. And so I definitely agree with you. So next up, just going into, I think, one of the last points in tonight's game. And I think that this could really be critical. And so we could see Chris Duarte and then also to Jevon Carter out there because of the back-to-backs and also to the 5 games in 7 nights, the heavy minutes for Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. This is Casey Johnson when he talked to Billy Donovan. And so be looking for this. This means that we are going to probably have to see Billy Donovan jump a little bit more into his coaching bag. That's something that we want to see from him. And it's going to force him to play the younger players because he has no excuse now not to play Matas Buzelis. He has no excuse not to play Dalen Terry, who's gone for 10 plus points in back-to-back games. And he is not just shooting the 3-point shot. He is actually slashing to the lane. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line. And so Dalen Terry clearly has shown that he's taking another step. So I want to see some more minutes from him tonight. And we're going to need him as an irritant, as a defender out there. I think he sets the tone. His energy can be felt on this team. It's all over the place. So we need to see some more of that tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Duarte because I think a lot of people have forgotten his rookie year in Indiana. It was actually pretty good. He just got injured in that year. He eventually got traded over to the Sacramento Kings, got lost in that rotation. And I think that, look, he has a chance to really, I think, affect the game defensively out there because he has that length. He has that versatility. So I expect for him to be all over the passing lanes tonight. And I think he's an athletic player. He can get out there. He can fill the lane for us. He has shown in the preseason and in his limited time that he can knock down some 3-point shots. And so I want to see that. And Jevon Carter, look, a lot of people talk about Jevon Carter, but he's been super professional, just like Torrey Craig has been. And so if he gets into the game, it's not like I'm worried about Jevon Carter. I think that defensively, he is going to give us something out there. Hopefully he can convert a lot more in the paint. But I think that he's going to hopefully give us that experience out there, and I don't think that he is going to hurt us. And so with that being said, these are some things to look for in this game coming up against the Memphis Grizzlies. So let me know in the comments as I get ready to check the chat before I jump out of here. And so I just wanted to leave you guys with a quick little pregame going into this one. Lastly, if you didn't get a chance to see last night's game, I'll give you some of the key takeaways from that. In the box score, look, 26 points from Zach Lavine. Talked about how he was 11 of 18. Want to see that efficiency tonight. Vooch had a double-double, 18 points, 13 rebounds. And he was a +5 in the box score along with Zach Lavine. Kobe White, after a slow start last night, 20 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, +18. And once again, Josh Giddey, I talked about him leading into this game and just being hopefully an MVP for tonight's game. 18 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks. And he also was 8 of 10, but more importantly, he was +19. And Ayo Dosunmu, who owns the Atlanta Hawks, 20 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 8 of 10 from the field too. And so, look, hopefully Ayo Dosunmu, I didn't even talk about him. Look, I think that he's starting to turn it on. He's starting to heat up a little bit offensively. And we know that we're going to rely on him a little bit more defensively. And so I want to see what Billy Donovan is going to do as far as maybe getting him maybe into that lineup. Because does he start him again? Because I think that that was a great adjustment with him putting Ayo into the starting lineup against the Atlanta Hawks, where he's done very well against them. Does he possibly get run tonight? That's a question. So I want to see what happens there. And so, all right, guys, I just want to thank everybody out there. Just want to thank you all in the chat who went ahead and commented on there, especially Podco Fishing, my man D-Law, who's always in the comments, and my man I Collect Julian Phillips in there. Man, I collect Julian Phillips. I wonder if you're talking about trading cards too. I collect Julian Phillips. But anyway, that's cool. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy the game. I'm going to be on the post game. We'll be talking a little bit more about the Chicago Bulls. Hopefully we get a win tonight. And look, even though this team still, we need to really evaluate these younger players. So hopefully Billy Donovan gives us that today. And hopefully we start to get into a good direction. Hopefully this team starts to gel together and get some good habits. And hopefully they don't turn the basketball over. Don't beat yourself tonight. Just don't do that. Play with effort. Don't turn the basketball over. And whatever happens, I think we're going to have a good result here. So appreciate you. Thumbs up. Thanks a lot, man, for jumping in the content. Thank you for loving the content. This content is nothing without you guys out there. So I much appreciate you. And so anyway, I'm saying it as usual. Go Bulls. And hey, enjoy the game. We'll be talking after. All right. I'll see you guys. Peace.